and particularly mobile advertising. It is alive and well, and web advertising, well, the service, Criteo, indicated when it first posted quarterly results yesterday. The company saying that there was a 60% jump in sales over the first quarter from last year. So at the same time, its shares did fall 4% today. Joining us now with more insight onto the world of mobile advertising, Greg Coleman. He is the president of Criteo. Greg, thanks very much for being here. Much appreciated. Maybe in your words, it's better for you to describe, how does Criteo interact with almost every interaction that we have on the web?
Sure. So Criteo engages in what a lot of people call retargeting. So it's one of the most effective forms of targeting that you can find using first-party data. So I found this company right after we sold the Huffington Post to AOL, and they asked me to come over and meet with the CEO. And their claim was that they figured out how to make display ads, those banner ads that you see on your favorite website, perform like search. Now, when I was at Yahoo, so I ran worldwide sales at Yahoo for 8 years, if somebody told me that there was a technology that was going to come around where somebody could make a display ad dance or a display ad click like search, I never would have believed it. And lo and behold, a company called Criteo, about 8 years ago, behind a sandwich shop in Paris, France, trying to create something completely different, a recommendation engine, backed into it. Serendipity happened, and they backed into a business model where they figured out how to buy inventory from publishers and how to sell advertising in a display ad on a click basis. When I heard that and I saw the proof points, I said, based on the experience I had at Yahoo, if that technology was half as good as what I saw, we could run the table around the world. And at that point, the U.S. was a very, very small piece of the overall Criteo picture, and today we're in over 40 countries around the world.
Greg, maybe you can just explain this idea of buying up the ad inventory.
Yes.
Because a lot of people might assume that, all right, if you're going to a page on the web, that whoever is producing that page also owns that space for advertising. Not always so.
Not always so. So the space that they do sell is what you call Tier 1 advertising. It's reserved space for your big blue chip advertisers, like Bloomberg has that space as well. Somebody like Criteo comes in when all of that inventory is not sold out. Publishers have a need to get more inventory. If I can deliver inventory at a good cost per thousand, they'll take my advertising all day long. If it's good looking and does not compete with what their Tier 1 advertisers are out in the marketplace selling.
Here's a statistic for you. $43 billion was spent on interactive advertising last year.
Yes.
You expect that to just 42.8. You think that compared to broadcast TV, only 41, I mean not only, but right.
Yeah, so it's a big sea change, and I remember back in my Yahoo days when digital became larger than the magazine business. That's way.
There was a Yahoo magazine at one point.
There was, yeah.
Yahoo Life.
Published not by Yahoo, but by Ziff Davis at the time. So you have today, the growth is not going to be stopping. My children and my children's children, they're not going to be reading lots of magazines. I come from the magazine business. Magazines are going to be around for a long time, but the world of digital is just going to be here, and the ad dollars will always follow the eyeballs. But today, the advertisers want you to prove that their ads work. So in our case, if you are measured on a cost per click, where you're looking at conversion rates, and you're looking at your overall reach, and you're looking at your cost of ad spend, your return on ad spend, or cost of sales, there's no tap dancing. I used to be able to tap dance at Yahoo and the Huffington Post in front of advertisers and give them a leap of faith why they should buy me. Today, it's science. You have art, creative, and you have science, that math and science that make these ads perform. So our corporate headquarters is still in Paris, and we have our 300 engineers living just inside of Paris. And we don't have to compete with Silicon Valley, where every 25-year-old wants 5% of your company and $1 million a year. But we have the best and brightest in Europe come to work with us. So 300 engineers figuring out how to make this engine that we've built really understand better what you're about to buy when you go onto a website.
All right, now I'm sure you have heard about the Alibaba filing for an initial public offer.
I remember when we made the investment, when Terry Semel and Jerry Yang approached the board a few years ago and went all in and bought 40%. I remember Jack Ma being in our offices for meetings all the time. I remember it clear as a bell. And those two guys, Jerry Yang and Terry, they deserve so much credit for having the guts to make that call a few years back. And it's paying off, obviously, like no one could have ever imagined.
What would be a gutsy call like that right now for Marissa Mayer of Yahoo? I mean, why don't they buy Criteo, for example? You say that you've got this recommendation search engine. That sounds like technology that they could use.
Right. So we're great partners with Yahoo. I know Marissa, I know their whole team. Our partnership is just burgeoning today. But companies are going to have to decide whether they're going to buy, build, or partner in this very difficult to understand advertising technology space. So there's a famous chart called the Luma chart, which shows hundreds of companies in the ad tech business. It is so noisy out there. So when you visit with an advertiser to try to get them to understand what you do versus what somebody else does, it's very difficult. And what I've been preaching in the industry is for everybody to build a scalable testing infrastructure. Don't listen to my pitch. Test me and see if I work.
Greg Coleman, not everyone's going to be able to get a meeting with you or speak directly with you. If you were able to offer some advice to an advertiser, what's the one question they should ask anybody that invites them to a media buy meeting?
So I would ask them this question, and that's a real good one. I would ask them if they will stand by their performance. Will they agree to be measured and to be held accountable and live and die by how well that advertising works, or not continue to take the business? That's the world that we're living in today. And there are a lot of pretenders, and there are a lot of people, there are very few people that can deliver on that promise.
What's the trend inside of the large advertising companies? Because they serve not only as creative forces, but as media buyers, and also they want in on the whole interactive ad business. Are they doing the song and dance, or are they producing the science?
So I think that the big ad agencies, it comes down to DNA. So if you have the DNA to really drive advertising technology, you're going to be successful. If you're going to fiddle around with a few projects and deliver ad products to your clients, where you're really not behind it, where you don't have the engineering investment, it's going to be much, much harder. But they're all looking at it. You see a couple of the very big ad agencies still trying to merge under the banner of advertising technology. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure if that is going to create an explosion of DNA, but we do see a lot of agencies investing and getting involved in this space. But to be a principal is what everybody wants to do, and that's very hard.
I want to thank you very much for joining me. Greg Coleman, he is the president of Criteo. Have a great travel schedule. I know it's a tough one coming up.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, coming up here on Taking Stock. You think